So an Alabama man is suing the federal government after he says he was detained not just once, but twice by ICE agents. Leonardo Garcia Venegas says that both incidents happened while he was working at a construction site earlier this year, and that both happened purely because he's Latino. Garcia Venegas is an American citizen born to parents who are Mexican nationals. His lawsuit claims that both times he told the officers he was a citizen and showed them his real ID. As you know, the real ID is the identification card that's issued only to citizens and lawful residents, but the officers still wouldn't let him go, according to his lawyer. The Department of Homeland Security is still disputing his account of why he was detained. His attorney, Jaba Tistsuashvili, who's representing Garcia Venegas in his federal lawsuit, joins me here in studio. Jaba, thanks for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us exactly what happened to your client.
Sure. So Mr. Garcia is an American citizen who simply just wants to work in peace. 2 times now, immigration officers have barged onto work sites where he was working and detained him without any reason to think that he had done or was doing anything unlawful. The first time, they violently tackled him to the ground, kept him in handcuffs for over an hour, and then he had to take almost 2 weeks off from work because he was so terrified and traumatized by what happened. He was scared to go back. Finally, he gathers up the courage to resume working after a couple of weeks. And it turns out his fears were justified because it happened again. The second time around, immigration officers actually came into a nearly fully constructed house where he was working. They forced him outside. Again, as the last time, he showed him his real ID. He said, "I'm a citizen." They refused to accept it. They refused to believe it. And again, they marched him down several blocks where they kept him detained for this time for about a half an hour. And they finally released him without any apology, without any explanation. And again, to be clear, there's no allegation really that he's done anything wrong because he never did anything wrong. All he did was show up to work.
So DHS did give us a statement, so I want to get your response, of course. And here's what DHS is saying. During a targeted worksite operation, Garcia Venegas attempted to obstruct and prevent the lawful arrest of an illegal alien. He physically got in between agents and the subject they were attempting to arrest and refused to comply with numerous verbal commands. What's your response?
So the simplest response is that that's not true. And the reason I know that's not true is because this incident was captured on video camera from multiple angles.
We do have some video. We can probably roll that video and maybe you can describe exactly what's happening and how the video was obtained.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this video shows Mr. Garcia being kind of violently tackled to the ground and then led away by these officers. And, interestingly enough, the first video was shot by other construction worker bystanders who were not Latino and were not in any way targeted by the officers. Mr. Garcia, on the other hand, was targeted for doing the exact same thing, which is he was recording on his phone, they were recording on their phones, they tackle him to the ground, the other guys are left free to do as they please, right? And so again, the notion that he was interfering with another person's arrest, and they said he got in between officers and somebody else, it's all captured on video. He was about 24 feet, like several yards away from what was happening still when they interfered with his ability to lawfully record the incident. So I think simply DHS can spin the story however they want. They can make up stories as they desire, but the videos show reality.
And you know that the Supreme Court, as we all know last month, did rule that ICE can in fact stop people based on race, language, job, or location. So what's the argument you're going to make in court? Are you ready to go up against that?
So I do want to be a little bit more clear that we actually don't know what the Supreme Court was thinking when they issued that order because they didn't explain themselves. We do have one justice concurrence from Justice Kavanaugh, but I think our case is, regardless, our case is actually different in several respects. The first is that our case deals with private construction sites where the workers there are already presumed to have been verified by employers for their employment status. The other problem is that our case alleges a policy and explains a policy that even Justice Kavanaugh in his concurrence implied would be unconstitutional, which is to keep people detained once they show you evidence of their legal status. And that's exactly what Mr. Garcia has twice experienced. Both times he showed them, the officers, his real ID. Both times they said, we don't care, we're going to keep you detained anyway. So there are real important differences about the policies that are at issue here versus the policies that were before the court on that kind of limited posture that they first heard the case. So we think that we're on strong footing regardless of the way that the case is kind of presented as an analog to that
well,
LA
we will
case.
definitely follow the case. And is he back at work?
He is, but again, like I said, he remains scared, and you have construction association heads down there explaining that members of the Latino community remain terrified to go to work. To the extent that they're doing so, it's out of bravery, it's out of a necessity to feed their families, but you have thousands of Latino construction workers in southern Alabama who are here lawfully and who just want to work in peace and earn an honest living. They have the right to do that.
Jaba, thank you. Appreciate you being in studio.